Sniffing. Today's topic is about sniffing. Now, network sniffing and threats. So, sniffing is a process of monitoring and capturing all data packets passing through a given network using sniffing tool, and it is a form of wiretap applied to computer network. Many enterprises switchport are open. Anyone in the same physical location can plug into the network using an Ethernet cable. What we get we get sensitive information obtaining through the sniffing. We can get the syslog traffic, telnet passwords, router configuration, FTP passwords, chat sessions, web traffics, email traffic, DNS traffics. This sniffing is a part of the gaining access phase, where we try to gain the access by sniffing the data what is going on the network. So what is going on the network from client to server, server to client, and we try to get the data by using the sniffing technique. And by using the sniffing tools, we do what we normally, it is like tapping the wire and getting the data. And what we get with this, we get these different type of traffics. We can get the traffic of the syslog, we can even get the passwords from the telnet or FTP, which is not secure. Even we can get the password authentication of email. We can get the routers configuration, chat sessions, DNS traffic. So we can get all these data by doing the sniffing. But and also it is anyone in the same physical location can plug into the network using the Ethernet cable. Now, to do the sniffing, we should have to be in the same location. So do the sniffing, which for doing the sniffing, first we have to be on the location. Then we can do the sniffing. Sniffing is like coming into between the server and the client and trying to get the data from it. Now, how a sniffer works. A sniffer works in Prometheus mode. A sniffer turns the NIC of a system to the Prometheus mode so that it listen to all the data transmitted on its segments. So it turns your interface into Prometheus mode, and what that means it will get and it will try to capture the data and try to listen the data, all the data which is going through or which is going on the segment. So very simple, you have this like a user is connecting to the server in the local network, or user trying to go to the internet connection. So they are going through the switch router to the internet connection. In that between, the attacker PC running NIC card and the Prometheus mode, and attacker forces the switch to behave as a hub. Now there are different techniques which we can use to get the data. We will discuss about that. A sniffer can constantly monitor all the network traffic to a computer through the NIC by decoding the information encapsulated in the data packet. So what it do? It first try to listen all the data which is going around in the segment, and then try to decode the information from that encapsulated packet. Now we have different types of sniffing. First, passive sniffing. Passive sniffing means sniffing through a hub or a hub that traffic is sent all to all ports, and it involves only monitoring of the packets sent by others without sending any additional data packet. And in the network traffic, in the network that use hub to connect systems, all hosts on the network can see all traffic. Therefore, attacker can easily capture traffic going through the hub. And hub usage is outdated today. So most modern networks uses switches. So basically, when we say the passive sniffing, that means when you are having the hub network, like in the star topology, they have using the hub as a centralized device to communicate, to connect all the different devices, all the machines and devices. Now, in that type of network, hub works differently. Hubs do what? It broadcasts everything. That means when data comes from one port, so it leaves that port and the data will be given to all the other ports of hub. Now in that case, the attacker don't have to do anything. So attacker don't have to do anything. That means no any effort. It just have to plug into the network port, any single port, and then it will get all the data sent and from or to any other machine. Like anyone who sends the data to any other machine, it will get the data will get to the data will go to attacker machine also, because hub works like it. Hub works in broadcast way, so it do broadcast. So when it do the broadcast, so the data will go to every machine. Now other machine may not be interested with that data, but the attacker is interested, and attacker will get the data. So this is called passive sniffing. It is having a significant advantage over active sniffing, because when you do the active sniffing, that means you have to do some extra thing, but here you don't have to do anything. You can just listen the packets. But nowadays nobody uses hubs. Hubs are now outdated. Everyone is now using the switches for communicating, or for the LAN devices, for the LAN network. So everyone is using now switches. But the new technology, which is what? Wireless technology. If you see the wireless technology, so those wireless APs and wireless routers, they basically work like a hub. So if suppose if you find the wireless network there in the organization, so what, this is not secure actually, because it acts like a hub. Now it acts like a hub, so attacker don't have to do anything to capture the packet. It can do the passive sniffing in the wireless network also, because in wireless network there is no wire, there is no directional communication is happening through the wire. So for sending data from one machine to other machine, to hub also, to the AP, wireless AP also, the devices do what? It send the data to the range, like it will broadcast the data to everywhere within the range. And if the attacker can get into the range of that wireless network, then it can easily get the data, whatever data is spreading all over the segment. Now remember, it does not have to join the AP, it does not have to log in, or it does not have to connect the AP. APs are secured by the passwords, so for the authentication. So if attacker don't know the password, and it don't need actually, it does not need to connect the router, it does not need to connect the AP also to get the sniffing, to sniff the data. It don't have to connect, it can just be in the network. It need only to be in the range of that wireless network to get the data. It will be in the wireless network and only enable the enable the interface into put the interface into the Prometheus mode. It will get everything from around the range. So if the hubs are now outdated, but even if the wireless network is there, it works and it acts like a hub. So still attacker can do the passive sniffing in wireless network. It does not have to connect the router. Now if you don't have hub or wireless network, so you will find the switch network. Now in switch network, all the devices are connected to switch. Now remember, switch don't do the broadcast, switch do only unicast. So when you are having a switch network, mostly you will find the switch network, so you can't do the passive sniffing. In that network, always switch do what? It do the unicasting. It will not do broadcast, it will not send the data to any other machine. If PC1 send the data to PC2, then only PC1 and PC2 can see the data. Other machines or other devices connected to any other port of the same switch will not able to see the data, because it do the unicasting. Now in that case, we have to do the active sniffing. So active sniffing is used to sniff a switched based network. Active sniffing involves injecting address resolution packet ARP into the network to flood the switch content addressable memory, that is CAM table, and CAM keeps track of which host is connected to which port. Now this is we can say one of the attack, but we can do different type of attacks. We can say it is the active sniffing techniques, because remember, if you are having a switched network, so switch will not do the broadcast, it will only do the unicast. and only the machine who is sending and only the machine who is receiving the data can see the data. Nobody else can see the data, and mostly we will find the switch network. So in this we will use these different techniques like MAC address flooding, DHCP attack, DNS poisoning, ARP poisoning, switch port stealing, spoofing attack. These kind of different attack we can do to do the sniffing. Now, to do the sniffing, that means to get the packets which is going around in the network. Now, before getting into the attack, we should know how the attacker can get into the network and try to get the data, try to sniff the data. So first, attacker do what? Attacker connect his laptop to the switch port. So first it will do what? It will connect the data, connect the machine, its own machine to the port. Now, second, he runs the discover tool to learn about network topology. So when it is able to connect the port, connect its machine into the network, then it will try to find out about the network topology. Then he identifies victim's machine to target his attack. Then he will try to it will identify the target who is going to be attack, and then he poison the victim machine by using the ARP spoofing technique. Now by doing this, what it will do actually, it will be in the middle of these two machines, like the server and the victim, or we can say internet and the victim. So it will try to do the man in the middle to do the sniffing. So basically when we try to do the sniffing, what we are doing is we are doing man in the middle attack. We'll try to be in the middle of these two machines. Then when the attacker comes in between the server and the client, that means the victim, then then the traffic destined for the victim machine is redirected to the attacker. So attacker will do the redirection of the traffic from the victim machine to the attacker machine. Then the attacker extract the passwords and sensitive data from the redirected traffic. So basically for sniffing the data, attacker has to come in between the two machines, the source and destination, or we can see the victim machine and the internet and the server. And that is how it can do the sniffing. Now, which protocols are vulnerable to sniffing? Now there are lots of protocols which is vulnerable to sniffing because by default they don't use the security, like HTTP. HTTP data sent in clear text. In HTTP data sent in clear text. In Telnet and RLogin, these are most vulnerable because it can do all the data, keystrokes including username and password, everything will go as a plain text. Then POP3. POP3 is also vulnerable, passwords and data sent in clear text. By default, they don't use security. POP3, IMAP, SMTP, NNTP, FTP, these are the protocols which by default don't use any security. They are vulnerable because if they don't use security, if we don't secure it, then these are vulnerable. So by default, whenever you send any data on these protocols, they do the data will go as clear text. And if the attacker is in between, if the attacker is doing the man in the middle attack and it is sniffing the data, so when the client or victim trying to log in on the server by using these protocols, then the data will go clear text, and whatever you type, username, password or any other data, that can be easily seen by the attacker. Sniffing in the data link layer of the OSI model. Now how the sniffing works, how it can get the data, because remember one more thing, when the data goes from one machine to other machine, that machine will only accept the data when the data is destined to that machine. If the data is not for that machine, the data will not be accepted. So sniffers operate at the data link layer of the OSI model. Let me explain this first. Now what I want to say is that when you send the data, suppose this machine is sending the data to this machine, so it will go through all these different OSI layers. So data will go through all these layers, then it will be encapsulated, ready to send, and then it will send to the other machine. Now when the data reaches the other machine, it will get inside the machine and then it will go through all these 7 layers. Now what happened when it reaches the physical layer, it will just convert the data to in a packet. Now when it reaches the data link layer, now what happened in data link layer, it will check the source and destination MAC address first. First it will check the error, and if the packet is not having any error, then it will check the source and destination MAC address. Now source and destination MAC address, that means the source as MAC address, that means the machine who is sending the data, and destination MAC address who is receiving the data. Now if the MAC address of the destination is not for this machine, like if the destination MAC address is not of this machine, then what it will do, it will drop the data here. Remember, the data will be dropped, and without your knowing also. That means we don't even see what is happening in the background, it will dropped. So even we don't notify it, it will not notify us that it is deleting some, it is dropping some data, and it will dropped here. Now then it will go on to check the network layer. If the IP address, it will check the IP address of the source and destination, and if the IP address is not for the destination machine, it is not for this machine, then again it will drop here. It will only accept the data when the MAC address is for this machine and the IP address is for this machine. Otherwise it is not going to accept the data. In some cases, suppose the MAC address is broadcast, then it can accept the data, but when it checks the IP address or subnet, then it will drop the data if it is not for this machine. Now if suppose the attacker is sitting in between these two machines, and it will try to capture the data which is going from one machine to other machine. That means this is source and this is destination. Remember, source MAC address will be this machine's MAC address, and destination MAC address of this machine MAC address. It is not related to attacker's machine. So when data will go to attacker machine, because the attacker has done some active sniffing, and it has captured, it has enabled the packet, it has redirected the packet to its own machine. Now even it is redirected to the machine, when it reaches the machine, it will try to enter from the physical layer. It will be entered into the physical layer because it is just trying to convert the data into normal data like data PDU. Then when it reaches the data link layer, here is the important part. When it reaches the data link layer, what it will check, the attacker machine will also check that whether the data destination MAC address on the data is of this machine or not. Basically, if it is the data will not for this machine, because the data is belong to this machine, so destination MAC address will always be of this machine, it will not be of this attacker machine. So what happened here on this attacker machine, again the data will be dropped. Remember, the data will be dropped and attacker will not get any data, it will dropped on data link layer. Even if suppose the MAC address is broadcast, or even suppose the MAC address, the attacker has fooled the machine to get the data here by using the MAC address, MAC flooding technique, or the different technique like ARP poisoning, and fool the machine to get the data here by using the destination MAC address. That means the attacker will fool the machine, this source machine, that this machine's MAC address is this machine's MAC address. That means it will say that this is the destination, this is the original machine. So it will fool the machine, source machine, that this machine's MAC address is this. Suppose like this machine's MAC address is B and attacker's MAC address is A. So it will fool the source machine that believing that this A is the MAC address of this destination machine. So when attacker do this by doing the ARP poisoning, so what this machine, this source machine will send the data to this machine, but IP will be for this machine, but the MAC address will be the attacker's MAC address. So it will accept the data on data link layer in that case. Otherwise it is going to delete here, it is going to drop here. But again when it reaches the network layer, the machine, the attacker machine will check that this data, does it belong to the attacker machine or not. It will check the destination IP address, but this IP address will always be this original machine. Attacker will not able to fool this machine, this source machine, believing that this IP address of this attacker. So the IP address will always be this real machine's IP. Now it is not this attacker machine's IP. So again, if the IP address is not for this machine, then data will be dropped here definitely. So first step, it is going to be dropped on the data link layer, or even if it passes the data link layer, it is going to drop on the network layer. Now attacker machine will never get the data. Now remember what I am saying, attacker machine will not get the data because it is not belong to this machine, and without even attacker notice it, it will be dropped in the background. We don't see it by default, automatically in the background these things happens in the background, and our LAN card and our network adapters will do this and it will drop the packet. Now the interesting part is this, that the sniffers which we use, the tools which we use for the sniffing, those tools works on this data link layer. That means when the data reaches to the data link layer, the sniffer will open the data and it will log all the information about the data. And whether now after the data link layer, maybe it is going to drop here or it is going on to the network layer and dropped on the network layer, it does not matter, because the data is already been open and logged in the sniffer when it reaches the data link layer. So the sniffers, these sniffers works on data link layer because the data will be dropped even on the sniffer data link layer, or if it passes the data link layer, it will definitely be dropped on network layer without any notification and without knowing the attacker. So these sniffers do what? It works in Prometheus mode, and it do what? It will sniff the data when it reaches the data link layer. So even if it is dropped here, the attacker will get the information, all the information about the data. That means the whole packet it will get, and it will open in the sniffing tool. So the sniffing tools works on data link layer. So that is what it is saying, that the sniffing tools works on data link layer of OSI model. And networking layers in the OSI models are designed to work independently of each other. And if a sniffer sniff data in the data link layer, the upper OSI layers will not be aware of the sniffing. And one more thing, because they works independently, so after the data link layer, it will go on to work on the network layer, then transport layer, then the upper layers of session presentation and application layer. So those layers don't know that something happened on the data link layer. So it will do the initial compromise on the data link layer. So these sniffers works on data link layer so that it can sniff the packet before dropping the packet on attacker machine, or even in the destination machine also we can start the sniffing tools. Then we have hardware protocol analyzers also. These hardware protocol analyzers is a piece of equipment that captures signals without altering the traffic in a cable segment. Now this is not a software, these are actually hardware devices. These are the hardware devices which is used to do the sniffing. And it do what? It captures the signals without altering the traffic in a cable segment, and it can be used to monitor network usage and identify the malicious network traffic generated by hacking softwares installed in the network. So it can be also used to monitor. Basically these are for monitorings. So basically these tools, these sniffing tools, or this is hardware analyzers, protocol analyzers, are also for monitorings. It is not for attacker, but attacker can also use this same thing. It captures the data packet, decodes it, and analyzes it content according to certain predetermined rules. And it allow attacker to see individual data type, data bytes of each packet passing through the cable. So attacker can also use these hardware protocol analyzers, hardware devices, to tap the wire and see the data. These are like these are the hardware protocol analyzers, or we can see the hardware, we can say the hardware sniffers. And what we do with that, we'll do the wiretapping. So wiretapping is the process of monitoring telephone and internet conversations by a third party. So attacker connect a listening device, that is hardware, software or combination of both, to the circuit carrying information between two phones or hosts on the internet, and it allows an attacker to monitor, intercept, access and record information containing in a data flow in a communication system. So types of wiretapping, again active and passive. Active means it monitors, records, altered and also injects something into the communication or traffic. So it do inject some traffic or data into the traffic. Then passive means it only monitors and record the traffic and gain knowledge of the data it contains. Now wiretapping without being concerned of the other person doing this is a criminal offense. Remember, wiretapping without warrant or a consent of the concerned person is a criminal offense is in most countries, or even we can say all the countries. Now because of that we have one more thing, it is called lawful interception. Lawful interception refers to a legally intercepting data communication between two endpoints for surveillance on the traditional telecommunication VoIP data and multi-service networks. Now, lawful interception means what? Interception means getting the data in between. Now, remember, whatever you do, like you take the internet connection, you take the internet connection from the service provider, and those service providers, they can see your data. Remember, the data is going through those service providers devices, telephone exchanges. So the data is going through them, so they can see the data, they can see our data, but because of the contract they can't see the data because it is illegal. So when we purchase these things, when we get the lease line, when we get these telephone or broadband connections, actually we are doing the consent, we are getting the consent that they will not never, or they will never see our data. This is the responsibility of them to protect our data in between. But lawful intercept means what? It can be used the law to do the intercept. That means the lawful agencies like the police, the crime branch, these agencies can do what? They can get the warrant to do the intercept. They go to the court and they get the warrant about it, and then they can go to the ISP and they will say that we have a warrant to intercept these, or we have a warrant to do the wiretapping, because without the consent or warrant it is illegal. So when the service provider, when they do this by lawful or by getting the warrant, then it is called lawful intercept. So what they do first, the authority, they go to the legal authority, they get the court order, request for the wiretap, they go to the service provider, and then service provider sets a access switch tab on exchange router. So whatever the exchange router is there, they will set the provider the switch port, access switch port, so that the data will be also get to the, before going to the internet, they can go, the data can go to the these agencies also. So the switch port system for real-time reconstruction of intercepted data, then it will go to the storage system, it can do the storage also, then the central management server, and then law enforcement agencies can access intercepted data whenever required. And the user feels like their data is going normally to the exchange, and from the exchange it is going to the internet or the other users. But in between, from the service providers end, it is going to be intercepted, and they can do that only when they have a warrant. So it is called lawful intercept. Now we don't have hubs in the network, and if you are having a wireless network, so it also works like a hub, and you can sniff the data without doing anything. It is also, we can do this by, we can call it as a passive sniffing. So we can do the passive sniffing when you are having the wireless network. Only the problem you will face that the data will be encrypted. So we have to decrypt the data in wireless network. But even if suppose some protocols are not using the security encryptions, then we can see the data very easily. But most of the time you will face the switched environment. So in the switched environment, you have a switch, and in the switch it only do the unicast. Now, for doing the sniffing on the switch network, we have to do some attacks. We have to do some extra things. That means we have to do the active sniffing. And that means first we have to understand that how switch work. So each switch has a fixed size dynamic content addressable memory. It is called CAM and CAM table. And the CAM table stores information such as MAC addresses available on physical ports with their associated VLAN parameters. So every switch has a CAM table, and in the CAM table it stores the MAC addresses of all the devices connected to the port, connected to each switch port. So when when the machine try to send the data to any other machine, the data will go to the switch, and switch opens the data. It sees the MAC address, source and destination MAC address. First it checks the error, then it checks the source and destination MAC address. Then what it do, it checks the source MAC address and add that MAC address into the CAM table of that port. So it add it into the port, that this MAC address belong to this port. And then it do this for all the ports and get the all MAC addresses available in the segment in all the ports, and then create the CAM table. Now CAM table is created, then what it do? It do only unicast. Now what is the MAC address? So remember, MAC address is the 48-bit address divided into two parts, which is 2424. First 24 is we can say it is provided by the IEEE. It is unique identifier, organizationally unique identifier. The other part is called network interface controller card specific. That means it is decided by the company itself that what kind of address it will going to assign, and this address, and that is how the MAC addresses are unique in the world. Now in the MAC address, first 8 bits, it is like this. So in the first 8 bits, these bits, last 2 bits, or we can say the first 2 bits. So if the first 2 bits like this, A2 or A1, if it is 0, that means it is unicast. If it is 1, that means it is multicast. That means the data is what? It is for multicasting. And here in A2, if the bit is 0, that means it is for the globally unique, and 1 means it is locally administrated. Now, how CAM works? So as I said, once suppose some machine sends the data, first time when you start the switch, the CAM table is empty. So when B is known, broadcast the ARP. So before sending the data, now let me show you this. Now when suppose some machine wants to send data to some other machine, like this machine wants to send data to this machine, so data will go on to these layers. Now when it reaches the data link layer, this machine has to add the MAC address here of source and destination. But source and MAC address it knows because it is own MAC address, but destination MAC address it does not know, and we don't type the destination MAC addresses. We don't give destination MAC addresses to communication. If suppose this machine is doing FTP connection to this machine, so how it will be done? This will the command will be like FTP, and after the FTP command will give the IP address of this machine, but we don't mention the MAC address. Now our source machine don't know the MAC address, so what it will do first? It will send the ARP request first. ARP protocol will work here. It works here, and it do what? It sends the ARP request to everyone. Everyone, that means everyone in the segment. The request will go to everyone in the network, in the segment, and no one will reply. Only this machine will reply because it is for this machine. Because in this ARP request there is an IP address of this machine. Now this machine will reply with its own MAC address. Now when it gets the MAC address here, this machine, then it will create the packet, it encapsulate the packet, add the source MAC address and destination MAC address of this machine, and then only the packet goes out and it will reach the destination machine. But remember, when it is switched network, so it will not go directly, it will go to switch first. So data will go to switch first, it will go to this port. Now what switch do? Switch opens the packet because switch works on data link layer. First it checks the error, then it will open the packet and check the source and destination MAC address. Now when it sees the destination source MAC address, then it will check this in its CAM table. So switch will see in the CAM table, it will look for the MAC address in the CAM table, source and destination MAC address in the CAM table. So it checks that source, okay, destination, where is the destination, in which port of the switch is connected the destination MAC address. Now because first time when you open the switch, when you start the switch, CAM table is empty. So what switch do? It creates the CAM table and creates the MAC address table there. So what it do here, it will add the source MAC address in this port. That means switch says that port 1 has this MAC address. Now the MAC address of this machine will be entered here, but other machines' MAC addresses are not there. So what it will do, it will send the packet to everyone, like it will do the broadcast. Remember, switch will do the broadcast when it does not know the destination MAC address. It don't know that where the destination MAC address is connected, in which port it is connected, because CAM table is empty and in the CAM table there is no entry. So it is going to be broadcasted to everyone and the machine will accept whether it is connected to this port or this port. It is going to be accepted. Other machine will not accept it. Now when the other machine do the communication or send the reply, so that machine, that data, that packet will have a source and destination MAC address also. So source MAC address of this machine and destination MAC address of this machine. So when the data reaches the switch, switch will open the data and it will check source and destination MAC address. Now this time source MAC address is new, it don't know, so it will add the entry on that port that this MAC address belong to this port. Now it checks the destination MAC address, whether it knows the destination MAC address. So yes, it knows the destination MAC address is on port number 1. So now this time when it knows the destination MAC address, it will not do the broadcast, it will directly do the unicast. That means it will directly send the packet to this port. It will not send the data to any other port. Now when the MAC address table, the CAM table is all full, that all entries are there, then the switch will not do the broadcast. It will always do the unicast. Whenever the data goes to the switch, switch opens the data, checks source and destination MAC address and see the table, check the destination MAC address, is it on port 4? So it will directly forward on that port. It will not go to any other port. It only do the broadcast when it does not know the destination MAC address. And if the destination if the packet is MAC address, if it is for broadcasting, that means if some machine is doing the broadcast, if it is sending the broadcast packet, then only it do the broadcast, the switch do the broadcast. Otherwise it will do the broadcast only in the condition where there is no destination MAC address available in the CAM table, unknown destination MAC address. So this is how switch works. First time it creates the CAM table. When it is created, then it will not do anything, it will not do any broadcast, it will do only unicast. Now one more thing, switch works transparently. That means this machine and this machine don't know that there is some device in between us which is joining these two devices. That means this machine feels like they are connected directly to the other machine. They don't know, they don't even know that the switch is doing something here in between. Because switch do what? It opens the packet, sees the source destination MAC address, then repacked it and then send it back to the other port. So the destination machine don't know that this packet is open in between and it feels like it is coming directly from this source machine. So switch is working as a transparent mode and does not identify itself to the source and destination. So source and destination don't know that there is any switch in between which is doing the communication for them. Now we know how the switch works. So this is how the switch works. So first it do the ARP, and in case when it does the ARP, it gets the MAC address of the other machine and the CAM table is ready, because ARP request and reply is also a packet. So suppose like when ARP for B, this A machine is sending the request for B machine, ARP request. So it goes here from this port 1. So the port 1 will be added with A, and then when it do the broadcast and the B machine send the reply which is connected to port 2, so it is going to be added here on port 2, and then it is start doing the communication, and then all the MAC address table is created. Now what happens when CAM table is full? Remember, the CAM table or CAM memory is a specific memory, so it is going to be full. It can be full, but remember, it is not going to full by only the MAC addresses, because normally it is very much enough for the MAC addresses. Because suppose if your switch is having 20 ports, so it is enough for that ports to store those MAC addresses in that CAM table. But what happens if suppose the MAC address table is full, CAM table is full? So once the CAM table on the switch is full, additional ARP request traffic will flood every port on the switch. So remember what I said before, that when the data reaches the switch, and if the switch don't know the destination MAC address, it will do what? It will do broadcast. Now same thing happen when the CAM table is full. So when the CAM table is full, and if you send a request for some new MAC address, then it is going to be broadcasted, because there is no information available for that MAC address in the CAM table. So this will change the behavior of the switch to reset to it learning mode and broadcasting on every port similar to hub. And this attack will also fill the CAM table of adjacent switches. This is what MAC attack. So attacker will do what? It will try to fill up the whole space of the CAM table with the fake MAC addresses. Now remember, with the fake MAC addresses, that means these MAC addresses are not belong to any machine. Now when the real machine try to do the communication, remember the MAC address is filled with these fake MAC addresses, port 3, and it is filling from the single port. This single port is filling the whole CAM table. Remember, it can accept, it reads the MAC address, it reads the MAC addresses dynamically. Switch creates the CAM table, read the MAC addresses dynamically. Dynamically means it can accept multiple MAC addresses on the single port, thousands of MAC address on the single port, and it can believe like all ports are in the same port, all devices, all MAC addresses are connected to the same port. So attacker do what? It will try to do the MAC address flooding, and it will try to fill the MAC address table, the CAM table, with the fake MAC addresses. You can see the here an example. You can see here on port 3 you have Y, Z, C. These are fake MAC addresses, and now CAM table is full. No entry is there. Now no new entry is not able to create it. Now what? When suppose this A machine try to connect B machine, so the request for the B machine MAC address will go to this switch. Now the switch don't know the B MAC address, where this B machine, the B MAC address is connected. So it will do the broadcast in that time, and the broadcast will go to everywhere, and everywhere means it is also go to the port number 3 where the attacker is connected. So switch will start working as a hub, and it will start sending the packet to everywhere. This kind of attack is called MAC flooding. So MAC flooding involves flooding of CAM table with fake MAC addresses and IP pairs until it is full. So it is trying to fill the MAC address by using the fake MAC addresses with fake IP addresses. There is no data in the packet, it is only having the fake MAC addresses and fake IP addresses. Because switch is not going to open anymore, it is going to open only till the data link layer. It will not see what is inside the network layer, what is inside the transport, presentation or session layer. It will not see any application thing. It only opens the data link layer till data link layer, and it will only check the MAC addresses and create the entry and CAM table. So attacker do what? It will try to send thousands of packets of fake source and destination MAC addresses to the switch. Now switch will create the entry for every MAC addresses in the CAM table, and then what happened? The CAM table is full. The memory is full. Now there is no new MAC addresses available. The real MAC addresses are also removed because the fake MAC addresses. Now when the real machine try to do the communication, switch don't know about the source and destination MAC address, so it do what? It broadcasts the packet to everywhere, and the attacker can get the data from the switch. Now to do this, to do the MAC address flooding, we have a tool called MACOff. This MACOff is a Unix Linux tool that is a part of DSNF collection, and MACOff send random source MAC and IP addresses, and this tool floods the switch CAM table with 131,000 per minute, and by sending bogus MAC entries, and your CAM table will fill. Now when you run this attack, when you run this command, when you run this tool, you will see the switch, all the ports of the switch will start blinking. It feels like there are thousands of data is coming and going right now, and it will fill up the whole CAM table. Now it can be used as a denial of service attack because it can corrupt the switch also. So when you run this attack, it can also corrupt the switch sometime if the switch is not able to handle this much of the fake source MAC and destination MAC addresses. So switch can get confused and can get also we can say corrupt. Now this one is not easy to sniff, but this attack, by doing this attack, it is not easy to sniff. Now why it is not easy to sniff also? Because the attacker machine itself sending thousands of fake MAC addresses packet to the switch, and from the same machine you're trying to do the sniffing also. So it will be very difficult for you to do the sniffing because your machine is sending thousands of packets, so your sniffer will detect all these packets also. So sometimes it will be difficult for the attacker machine also to sniff. So basically sometimes it will use for only denial of service. And I will show you this. Now in Kali Linux this MACOff is not there in the latest version. So what we should do, we should download it. So for downloading, we can download this dsnif package. With this package, it is MACOff is a part of this package, so we can install with this apt-get install command, and after that we get the MACOff command. So now when you run the MACOff command, remember it is going to send thousands of fake packets to the switch and try to fill the whole space of the switch CAM table. Then the command is very easy, MACOff -i for the interface, and then you will mention the interface name, and then it is going to run. It needs the root privilege, so I am using sudo command. Then what? You just have to press enter, and you see this, what is happening. It is actually sending thousands of fake MAC addresses to the switch. I'm going to stop it by pressing Ctrl C. Now you can see what it is doing here. It is sending the fake source MAC address, fake destination MAC address, IP addresses are 000, port numbers are random, and for the data it is just saying that this is Windows data, but there is no data inside it. You can see it is 0, and it is sending all these fake packets very quickly and speedily to the destination machine, to the switch, and switch will assume like these are the real data and real communication happening, and then it will try to fill the CAM table with these fake source MAC addresses, and then the whole CAM table memory is full. Now when the CAM table memory is full, then whenever any data comes, it will go overflow and it will reach to everyone, and everyone means attacker is also there to receive the data. So this is a MACOff to do the MAC flooding. Now next we can do switch port stealing also. Now switch port stealing sniffing technique uses MAC flooding to sniff the packet. So basically Attacker floods the switch with forged gratuitous ARP packets with target MAC address as source and his own MAC address as destination. A race condition of attacker's flooded packet and target host packet will occur, and the switch has to change its MAC address binding constantly between two different ports. In such a case, if attacker is fast enough, he will able to redirect the packet intended for the target host toward his switch port, and attacker now managed to steal the target host switch port and sends ARP request to stolen switch port to discover target host IP address. When attacker gets the ARP reply, this indicates that target host switch port binding has been restored, and attacker can now able to sniff the packet sent towards the targeted host. So what it do here, actually, this is the host and this is what the targeted host. Now targeted host is connected to this port and attacker is connected to this port. Now attacker wants to sniff the traffic between this host and the target host. So what it will do here, it will send the forged MAC addresses with the ARP reply. Remember, a reply comes only when you send the request. So when you send the request, reply only comes when you send the request. So what, without getting any request, attacker will start sending the reply directly, and start sending the reply saying this host IP address is my IP address. That means it is sending the reply with this host, the real host MAC address, and we can say the target host MAC address. This is our target this time. So this target machine's MAC address with its own IP address, and it is going to be cached into the host machine. Now host will believe that this machine IP address, this target machine's IP address is okay, but the MAC address is this attacker's MAC address. So whatever the data this host machine send for this target, it will send with the MAC address of this attacker. Now remember, the switch don't know anything about IP address. So switch will do what? Switch will see only the MAC address, and it will see the MAC address is attacker's MAC address. So instead of sending the data to the host, it will send it to the attacker. So very simple, what attacker do? It will start sending, or it will start sending lots of packets of forged ARP reply, not request, directly reply, that saying that this IP's MAC address is my MAC address. This IP, that means this target machine's IP address is my MAC address. For example, let me show you this. Now what it do here, attackers, this is attacker's machine, and this machine's MAC address is A, and IP address, we can say the IP address is 10, and this machine's MAC address is B, and IP address is 11. This machine's MAC address is C, and IP address is 12. Now switch don't know the IP addresses, switch only knows the MAC address. So switch knows that A MAC address is connected to this port, that means port number 1. B MAC address is connected to port number 2, and C MAC address is connected to port number 3. Now what attacker do? Attacker starts sending the forged ARP replies, and in the reply will go to everywhere. And what it says here, it actually send the reply will not go to everywhere, it is going to be the target. So it will send the target machine the ARP reply. Now in the ARP reply, it will say that this IP is my IP. Which IP? It is not this IP. So it is start sending the IP reply saying IP address number 12 is my IP, and this is my MAC address. But remember, this IP is of this machine, which is MAC address, actual MAC address is C. Now this machine BC, this machine feels like this IP MAC address is A. Now whenever this machine sends the data, so what it do, when it packs the data, encapsulate the data here in this machine, so it will add the IP address as a source IP address as 11, destination IP address as 12, but source MAC address will be B. Now because of the fake reply, this machine feels that this IP, this 12 IP, which is actually this machine, the MAC address is A, and it will send this data to switch. Now this IP address is actually of this machine and MAC address is C, but this machine feels that this MAC address of this IP is A. So when it sends the packet to the switch, now switch will not able to see the IP address. It don't know about IP address. It only know the MAC address. So what it will do, it will send the data, instead of sending to this, it will send the data to attacker machine. Now when data reaches to the attacker machine, remember, because the MAC address is okay, it will pass the data link layer, but when it goes to the network layer, it is going to be dropped because the IP address is not this machine's IP address, it is of this machine's IP address. But before reaching the network layer, it is going to be intercepted by the sniffer, and attacker can see the data at that time. It don't have to accept the data, it don't have to get the data, it just want to sniff the data. So sniffer can open the data on the data link layer and it will see all the data. Now the data will not reach to this original machine, data will go to this fake machine. This is what switch port is stealing. Now to defend this MAC attacks, in the Cisco switches or in the switches, we have a different configurations. It is called switch port security. In this switch port security, what we do, we enable the port security actually, and port security can be used to restrict the inbound traffic from only a selected set of MAC addresses and limit the MAC flooding attack also. So we can do what? We can enable the switch port security in Cisco switches, and instead of reading the MAC addresses dynamically, we can add the MAC addresses manually, and we can add it statically also. So by doing this, what we do, we restrict the MAC address flooding also, and even we can restrict the switch port also, attack of switch port also, because when it is doing the attack of switch port, it is doing what? It is trying to send the bogus MAC addresses. So you will go to the Cisco switch and you will do this, you will run this command in the configuration mode. First command is the switch port security command, switch port security command. This command will enable the port security on the port. Which port you want to enable the port security, like which port which is your important port, the port which is connected to the important machines like servers and the important devices like routers or gateways. Then the next command will be switch port security maximum 1 VLAN access. Now this will be define the maximum number of MAC address it can support in a single port. By default, it can support thousands of MAC address in a single port. It can add the entry for the single port, it can add the thousands of entry for the single port. So by using this port security, we can limit that to a maximum numbers of MAC addresses allowed to enable on this port or attach on this port. So we can add any number of levels, like maximum it is saying 1, so only one port MAC address is allowed on only one port. We can do this on all the ports of switches, so that when attacker try to send bogus MAC addresses like 132,000 per minute, so only one MAC address will be updated there and other MAC addresses will be dropped. Other data for the MAC addresses will be dropped, or what it is going to be, we can define with this third command. Switch port security violation, that means when someone try to send the cross the maximum limit of MAC addresses, which is 1 here. So what is going to be do? What is switch going to do? So if the violation is there, so it is going to do the restriction. There is three options you will see for this command. You will see the three options: restrict, protect and shut down. When you put the shutdown command, then it is going to shut down that port which is trying to violate the maximum rule. So if you are having a maximum level rule for the one port, one MAC address, and attacker is trying to send bogus MAC addresses, thousands of MAC addresses, then the port will go shut down and it is not going to be enabled until we reboot the switch. Then the other options are restrict and protect. These two, restrict and protect option, do what? It will drop the packet, it will not shut down the port. The port will still work, only one MAC address will be accepted. So data for only one MAC address which is updated allowed to go through the switch. Other packets or other data will not allow to go through the switch, other data will be dropped. So only one MAC address allowed on the switch port and others will be dropped when we put restrict and protect option. There is a small difference between restrict and protect. Restrict will do restrict and it will not generate the log, but protect will generate the log also, and it will identify that someone is trying to do this type of attack because of the logs. Then the command is the next command is the switchboard port security aging time command. Aging time command will do age the MAC address, like how long this dynamic MAC addresses will be there in the switch. Then the next command is to aging type inactivity. So when it is not active or when it is not using that MAC address, or someone is not sending or receiving from that MAC addresses, then it is going to be removed. Then for logging we can use SNMP server, or we can use SNMP server for monitoring also. This SNMP is for monitoring your switches and router. So we can configure this SNMP server enable trap for port security trap rate 5. So it is going to log, or we can see the trap, we can see the information about, we can monitor the switch about the port security thing from the remote location. This is to defend for the MAC flooding, or even we can say it is defend for the switch port stealing also, because when the attacker trying to send the bogus MAC addresses from here, many MAC address, then it can be blocked, more than one. So this is what MAC address attack, and this is how we can defend this MAC address attack.